You know, guys, some of you might have noticed when you click onto my channel, the few of you that are left, YouTube keeps on jerking me all over the place. They've been doing this shit for years, guys. Whenever I start making strides, they start cutting my subs down by the tens, by the hundreds. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? I don't know what that shit is all about, but I think I've spoken on this a few times over the years. I just said, listen, I just keep on pushing. You know what I'm saying? It's like if I click with just one or two people, then I feel like I'm doing my job. You know what I'm saying? So I just keep on moving on, bro. I just keep on moving on. But anyway, the point is that you might notice that my channel name has been shortened to The Gospel. Okay, used to say the gospel according to Mark with a C, but I realized that it's off-putting for some people because it's a very long title. It's a confusing title to some people. It hasn't changed. I'm still the gospel according to Mark with a C, but for the sake of people and their short attention spans, I just shortened it to the gospel. Okay, the point is, and every now and then I break this down. All right, my name is Mark. Okay, my mom named me Mark. She spelled it M-A-R-C. Little did she know she was sentencing me to a life of explaining to people that it's M-A-R-C because everybody wants to spell it M-A-R-K. Any M-A-R-Cs out there, you know what I'm talking about. Shout out to y'all. You spend most of your life saying more than anything else, that's Mark with a C. That's Mark with a C. It's Mark with a C. You know what I'm saying? So a long time ago, I just said that if I ever wrote a book, because someone told me, you should write a book, what would you call it? It's simple. I would call it the gospel according to Mark with a C. Because, in the Bible, it's the gospel according to Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, right? So the gospel according to Mark in the Bible is M-A-R-K. And I just said, okay, I'll say it's the gospel, but it's according to Mark with a C. You know what I'm saying? So, you know what I mean? I don't know, Anyway, so that's what it is. And the funny thing about it is that half of y'all still in the comment section when you refer to me, you spell it Mark with a K. So go figure. I'm just like, whatever, man. I don't even care. I've done my part. I've done all I can do, and it's all good. It doesn't really bother me. Look, I'm old. I'm used to it by now. So anyway, guys, that's what's going on with that. Okay, it's the same dude, the same channel. I just did the gospel thing. Okay, so anyway, there it is, guys. And let me spin off into my intro. This is the gospel according to Mark with a C. He is I, and I am he. Just taking some time to tell you exactly what's on my mind. Thank you for joining me once again, my friends. And that is a mission statement. I tell you exactly what's on my mind. So sometimes you hear me talking about entertainment issues. Sometimes you hear me talk about more social issues. I don't consider myself a political channel, but because you're going to hear what's on my mind, I'm going to tell you how I feel about some of this bullshit that's going on right now because the impact is being felt just about everywhere. There's no escaping it. This guy, this dude that's been voted into office, I don't think even his greatest supporters expected this type of nonsense, especially this short into, like, we're not even that far into his administration, his presidency. You know what I mean? But look at all of it's a mess right now. I don't know, guys. You tell me, if it's just me, I'm not the most politically savvy person, how you think this guy is doing. Is he inspiring a great deal of confidence, you feel, in this country? Are we feeling a lot better now than we did this time last year, maybe? And this is not an endorsement of the other guy. Like I said, I'm not really political. All I'm asking is that I can live my life. All I want to do is live, raise my son, be relatively secure, and just ride off into the sunset. Just don't fuck with me. That's all I'm saying. I think we all feel that way. All of us just want to be free in our pursuit of happiness. That's basically it. You know what I mean? But things just completely fucking flipped on its head over the last, year or so. I mean, it's been crazy, ever since this whole COVID thing hit. But now it's just like everything is just unstable all over the place. It's very, very hard for people to actually feel good going from day to day. There's just way too much uncertainty happening. And I would think that it's the job of the people that we put into office to make us feel better. But the last thing we should expect to get from the people that we put into office that are supposed to be working for us The last thing we should expect to hear from them is some shit like what Joe Biden said over this past week. He said, my patience is growing thin with you, the people, right? Our patience, he said, I guess he means the government or he means the vaccinated, whatever. Our patience is growing thin with you, the people. All right. Now, the reason why he can get away with this is because he's acting like he's directing this towards the unvaccinated. So since there is a giant wave of vaxism going on here, and once again, I explained to you that vaxism is what racism is to race. Vaxism is to the unvaccinated. Okay, vaxism. And you have a vaxist in office who wants to encourage everybody else to be vaxxed because it makes them blind to the out of line shit that he is doing in this country. There is no way that a sitting president should feel safe enough to say to the people that he's supposed to serve that I'm losing patience with you. But he gets away with it because, like I said, he's already sowed those seeds of hatred and resentment against those people who have the guts. Those people have the nerve to say what they're going to do with their own bodies. And so this man feels like now, because he's got all of these people like with him in their hatred, in their anger. And is it hatred and anger? Yes, it is. You can see it on social media. You can see so-called high-profile motherfuckers like Howard Stern, Arnold Schwarzenegger, all of these people who are parroting this screw your freedoms, fuck your freedom, forget your freedom. And somehow this is acceptable to these other people just because they took a goddamn needle in their arm. So now they feel that it's acceptable for people to say things like, fuck your freedom. It's unbelievable. I wouldn't have thought years ago that this would happen. But it's happening, and it's happening so fast. They're telling people you have a certain amount of time to get that goddamn needle in your arm, or you will no longer be able to work. It doesn't matter. You could have spent 20, 30 years at a place doing a good job. Maybe you were exposed to the coronavirus. You did what you were supposed to do. You stayed home. You recovered. You got over it. You got back to work, just like any other illness or sickness that you get. I had it. To me, it felt like the flu. I've had the flu before. I've stayed home. I've gotten over it. I've gotten back to work. I did what I was supposed to do. We do what we're supposed to do. But somehow, what we have always done is no longer acceptable to these people that we put into office. And they feel like they're going to take the power out of our hands to manage our society the way we always have. And they're going to dictate to us what it is that we are going to do. Otherwise, they're going to lose patience with us. And once they lose patience with us, you don't want to think about what that's going to lead to. But you have all of these people who are saying, that's right, we're tired of you. We're tired of you taking up hospital beds and all that shit. Now, who has been taking account as far as who gets what hospital beds up until now? A smoker could spend something like 30, 40 years smoking, chain smoking. On the side of the pack, it says that this could lead to cancer with you. You could get sick doing this. You have all these commercials, but these people can go into a hospital and nobody is going to say to them, well, you shouldn't have been smoking. You don't deserve this bed for somebody who's having a heart attack. It's some bullshit. Okay, absolute bullshit. And then we have to think, and I made this point before, why are these people coming to the hospital in the first place who are sick with COVID? It might be because the doctors ignored them and didn't treat them from the day they were diagnosed. They were allowed to or sent home. They were denied treatment from day one. Okay, from day one, when you're told that you have a potentially life-threatening disease and they send you home and do nothing for you, then don't come to me later talking about we're overwhelmed and we don't want to treat these people because other people deserve to be treated better. You didn't fucking treat them to begin with. That's the point. These people are being allowed to die. And I don't care how long it takes. You will know what I'm talking about. History is going to judge these days to be some of the darkest days in American history. You can fucking believe that. All of these people who have died up until now, we can't bring them back. But what can you do going forward? We can wake the fuck up. There are treatments out here. We should be treating these people, but we're not. Why? Because those treatments are cheap and nobody's going to fucking make money off of them. Oh, but you can make money off of these vaccines. Not saying the vaccines don't work. Not saying the vaccines don't work. Not saying the vaccines don't work. Please stay out of my comment section with that bullshit about why you chose to get the vaccines. It's good that you chose you were able to choose to get the vaccines. Choice is a good thing. It's good that you were able to do that. Don't come here trying to justify shit. You're being allowed to exercise your freedom of choice. It's other people's freedom of choice that's being stepped on. Nobody's denying you a job. Nobody's denying you entrance to a restaurant or a gym or a church, for God's sake. No, they're not. It's those people who are choosing the wrong thing. Okay, you're choosing the so-called right thing because your government says it's the right thing to do. So shut your fucking mouth and live with your choice and gallop off into the sunset and be happy. Okay, but for those of us whose rights are being stomped on, who are being silenced, and I know my time is coming up soon, sooner or later, I'll probably be silenced on this channel. You know, I'll probably be silenced on Twitter because I'm speaking how I feel. I'm not saying don't get the vaccine. You have to look at the benefits versus the risk. It's an individual choice based on individual health concerns. Why is that so hard to understand? Each person has their own specific medical history. You just can't roll up in a parking lot someplace and get someone to stick a needle in you regardless of who the fuck you are. Did they see your medical records? Do they know your conditions? No, they don't. And forgive me and forgive the other people out here who that actually means something to. Okay? People who have gotten flu vaccines, who have gotten chickenpox, shots, who have gotten polio shots, all of these things, they're not anti-vaxxers. Most of us are not anti-vaxxers. We're talking about mandates. We're talking about having the freedom of choice, and the numbers, the actual numbers, don't support the type of action that's being taken here today. And you won't understand that until it's way too late. You are giving it all away. The individual's freedom of choice. Okay, middle class to poor people, we need all of the options that we can get as far as treatment are concerned. But we're cheering these rich pricks who give themselves those considerations, and we're fighting amongst ourselves. At what point do we wake up and stop being manipulated with this bullshit? Every time you turn on the TV, every time you turn on the news, they're giving you a new reason to hate the unvaccinated. You could have been treating them. They never would have been in the hospital. So please stop with they're taking up hospital beds. They got the disease and they went home and they should have been treated there. They only go to the hospital after 10 days or when the symptoms become overwhelming. Since when is that sound medical practice? Tell me that, please. This is what I'm talking about. You can resent me all you want. You can resent all of these people who are voicing these concerns all you want, but we're all doing this for all of us. That's what you don't understand. You're not doing this for all of us. You're doing this for your freedoms, to get your freedoms back. They took your freedoms, the freedoms that God gave us all. And the most basic of freedoms is to be able to choose. If you believe in the Lord, if you believe in God, I'm not saying that you do or you don't or you have to, but if you do, then you must know free will, free choice is what God gave us to navigate our way through life. We all have that choice to accept or reject. In Islam, the Taliban over there, they say there is no compulsion in religion. There's no compulsion. You can't be made to believe. You can't be, and this is coming from God, if you believe in that. So who is the government to say you don't have a choice? We don't trust you to have a choice. We know better than you. And once again, and I made this point before, this is the example that we give to our children. They get to see us rolling over. Men, this is what we give to our sons and our daughters. They get to see us rolling over. We're not thinking, man. We're not thinking. And for all the people who say the vaccine is protecting me from a bad outcome, from dying, the vast majority of people who get this virus don't die. They recover, and they recover with natural immunity, something that they don't talk about, even though the vaccines are made to mimic our immunity. So use your brain. It's better than natural immunity, but it's made to try to mimic that. And these studies are coming out now that it's more durable than that. Even though, like I said, I am not anti-vaccine. If the vaccine works for you and you made that risk to benefit choice based on all of the information that they're not giving us on TV, then so be it. I respect that. It's the other people who are not being respected that's the problem. The ones who are making the other choice. And the government can sit back and say, our patience is wearing thin with the very people that they're supposed to be serving. And like I said, somehow we're okay with that. And we don't think that one day that's going to bite us on the ass. I don't know why it's such a hard concept to understand. If you're tired of this, if you want things to go back to normal, then you just simply stop it. You simply say no. You simply say we're going to live our lives, and come what may, whether you fail or whether you do succeed, like the song says, you will live as you believe, and you'll show your children that's how you're supposed to live. You don't sit there waiting for the government to save you in the form of mandates. You know, it's not wrong to require or ask of your government to help, all right, in the way of vaccines or your science for that matter, not necessarily even the government, because everything being politicized is the problem, you know, but it's not wrong to work towards an answer out of science, whether it's vaccines, which are very good because nobody actually wants to get COVID because you could develop long COVID, you could die. So in pursuit of natural immunity, you shouldn't just be having COVID parties. You should look to things like vaccines. You should look to things like treatments. But that's not what this is, guys. That's not what this is. And mandates are not going to be the way. Putting people out of work is not the way, because you're going to cripple your country. You talk about you don't have enough help at the hospitals. Well, how many qualified people have you sent home? Have you chased off of their jobs? How is this going to be good for our country? Well, they did it to themselves. No, that's not the way. That's not the way you're thinking. All right, but or it's not the way you should be thinking anyway. But a lot of people are just parroting what they're hearing on TV. You're parroting what you hear from Fauci. You're parroting what you hear from CNN, you know, and other stations as well. Not just them, but they're just like the absolute fucking worst. But in the quiet of the night, in that still, in the dark, when you're just by yourself, you need to think about some common sense questions and some common sense answers. And you realize it's inescapable. The only way this stops is when we stop it. That's it. And I ain't talking about violence or anything like that. I'm just talking about exercising your freedom of choice. That's the most powerful thing of all. Lift up your voice to your neighbors. Talk to them. You know, stop being afraid. That's how we get conquered, by fear. Don't be afraid. What's the worst that can happen? You die? Well, that's going to happen anyway, guys. You do realize that, right? These people can't promise us immortality, but we're wasting our lives with this. That's the thing. 2 years going on, not being able to fully live the way that we want to, wasting time arguing with people that we don't even know. That's not any way to live. Our children, who knows what they're suffering, you know, with the trauma of all of this, not being able to grow up the way that we're used to being able to grow up, not having the experiences that we've all had. We deserve better. In the minute, the day, the moment that you realize that and you say that it's enough, guess what? It's going to stop. It's not him that should be losing patience with us. It's us who should be losing patience with him. All right, guys. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. Okay, you can get in the comment section as always. And just know, guys, you're not alone. Okay? You're not alone. For all the pressure that families put on you and jobs put on you and all of these things, just remember you're not alone. And the more of us that speak up, the more of us that actually are brave enough to say that this is wrong, the closer we get to this being over. All right, guys, like, share, subscribe. Catch me on Twitter. If not, you can catch me on the next one. For as long as I can be, I will be here. This is the Gospel According to Mark with a C. Rock on.